Okay, so you should have the aim in your notebook, 9.2, including the aim exactly as it's written here. We just discussed some responses to the do now, so away we go. All right, I will give you a second here. All right, so for starters, and this is going to be a term that keeps coming up in this unit, this idea of interdependence. The feudal system is a system of interdependence, meaning that each class of people is doing something for the class above them or below them and or below them, right? And that these obligations to the class above or the class below are what feudalism is built on. So samurai was the second from the bottom. So they have, responsibilities to both the class above them and the class below them. So if we go back to the basis for feudalism, the idea that peasants are seeking protection in return for their service, those samurais provide that protection. So if the samurai do not provide that protection to the peasant class has no reason to provide service, and the whole system kind of collapses. If the wealthy landowners, the daimyo in this case, count on the samurai to protect the feudal manor, and they do not protect the feudal manor, that leaves daimyo susceptible to attack and kind of overthrow. Then the whole system kind of collapses, right? So we'll go a little bit deeper into what the wealthy landowners provide to the warrior class beneath them in future lessons when we talk about knights. But the long story short is interdependence is an idea that we're going to have to continue to come back to. So samurai really serve two functions. They are both the police force and the military. On the manor, which is a kind of a self-contained kind of society in feudalism, on the manor, samurai are the police force. They keep the manor secure. And in addition to that, if the shogun were to call for an army, each wealthy landowner would have to send some or all of their samurai to the military. So samurai act as both police and military, and that is but in either capacity, they're really about security and defense, right? So that is kind of the role of samurai. Okay, last slide. All right, so feudalism in Japan is going to last a lot longer than feudalism in Europe, that's for sure. But in the later stages of feudalism in Japan, the Tokugawa shogun initiates this system called the hostage system. And the state has actually asked about this in the past, so I wanted to include it. But the way this works is that all daimyo, the wealthy landowners, basically had to maintain two homes. They had to maintain a home on their manor in wherever that's located, and they also had a home in Edo, the capital of the Tokugawa shogunate. And the idea is, whenever they are away from their home in Edo, they have to leave their family there. They're not allowed to bring their family with them back to their home. And the idea is that the family is almost kind of sort of being held hostage voluntarily, kind of, to ensure that the daimyo kind of remains loyal. If the daimyo were to commit treason and maybe try to overthrow the shogun and kind of become the shogun themselves, because again, the shogun's just the wealthiest landowner, right? They can kind of be overthrown by other wealthy landowners if they team up or something like that. So the idea behind the hostage system was to ensure the loyalty of the daimyo that kind of live under the shogun. And they've asked about this before, so I figured that I would include it at the very least.